I want to just pick up today on some thoughts that I was putting down on paper while I was working on the webinar for my intentional mentoring group. And I'm not going to be real transparent today because I'm not there yet with this personal development issue in my life, but I want to share an area of my life, my mental health life coaching that I'm strengthening, and I want to strengthen it. And I want to strengthen it because in making my list of what I want to work on and become better at in my life, one of the areas that I want to become better at in my life is relationships. And how I know that this needed to be on a checklist for my mental health life coaching is because I'm frustrated in the area of relationships. I'm really frustrating. I'm really frustrated with the relationships. So that's an area that I'm really focused in on right now. Hey, Nick, where you at? Why didn't you come by here today? Um, that's the area that I'm really struggling at, y'all. I'm going to stay focused now because I don't want to get really transparent yet. We're going to work our way up to maybe the third video before I do something like that. But I'm working on relationships in my life. Some of them, like, how did I get here? And then I start looking over some of the behaviors that I ignored, some of the behaviors that I allowed. And I'm looking back and all the work that I felt like I did from learned behaviors from childhood. Man, those suckers, y'all, those gnats, those flies, they still show up in our life. The things that we learn in the first 13 years of life, they're so instilled in us and deep rooted in us that with all the work we do, I truly believe, if not our entire lifetime, a good majority of our lifetime, we are spending uprooting behaviors and learned patterns from our home life. The first 13 years that developed our brain, we spend the rest of our life trying to cherry pick out what's not beneficial for our life, what's not productive in our life, what's not me, but it was them. I don't care if we got the same blood. It worked for y'all. Y'all like that. I don't like it. And it's almost a lifetime we spend getting out of us those formative years, those 18 years, if you will, of living at home. And that's heavy. It's heavy. So, how do you know how to make a list of what you want to work on in your life? Start first by making a list of all the areas in your life that you are frustrated in. Make a list of all the areas in your life that you're frustrated in. That's how you get ready to zero in on things in your life that need to be perfected, areas or issues in your life that need to be strengthened. Make a list of all the areas in your life where you find yourself frustrated. So for me, one of them is relationships. It's relationships. And more specifically, or maybe a subcategory to relationships, is my frustration is how have people been able to treat me the way they have treated me? How? How did that happen? And then, of course, first, if you know anything about therapy or mental health coaching, we always have to look at ourselves. We can't point to anyone else. It's almost like the day we see Jesus and he's going to say, well done, my good and faithful servant, we hope, right? But he's going to say, who stopped you from doing this? My husband stopped me from doing this. My wife stopped me from doing this. They're not here. My children caused me to miss my purpose because I was so busy taking care of them all the way up till they were 40 and 50. Some of the excuses, the Bible even says, what can separate you? And he tells us that we can't even use the excuse of angels. We can't even use the excuse of angels separating us from the love of God. That's deep. So how did we get to a place, and I can only speak for me, right? But how did I get to a place where I'm frustrated in most of my relationships and bringing back the accountability to only me, how did I let these relationships continue on the way they did? And most importantly, why did I? That's some serious mental health coaching work. Why? Because it is a teaching that we teach people how to treat us. Write it up on the screen. Share this with someone who you think can be blessed by it. I'm trying to find the time. I don't even see the ticker on here, how long I've been on here, but y'all remind me. How did we get this way? So this is the first takeaway we're going to put, right? After we make a list of all the areas in our life where we're frustrated, the next part of this short training that I'm going to do is, how did it get like this? How did we get like this? And then you need to go down and write, what about relationships, if that's where you're at, because I'm sharing mine tonight. That is frustrating me. Why did I allow behaviors that I was not comfortable with? Sometimes I like shook on the inside, but I smiled and I took it and I laughed, joined in some things that I didn't like, but I did it. And I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown woman leading people, but there's still these learned behaviors in us. And I say that and I stress that so much because my mom was a 99 percenter. She was a 99 percenter. She was a 99% people pleaser. Unfortunately, from her life, she was trained that way. She came from times, when women didn't have so many rights, and they call it now double minority. She was a black woman, two minorities, and so it was rough times for her. And she, like I'm sure a lot of other women of her day, learned that it's better to go along to get along, and it's better to get along to go along. If you want to move forward, you got to get along. So people pleasing became a part, I believe, maybe of women's history. So being under this woman who, in my opinion, it used to literally disgust me, the level of people pleasing that she would be involved in, even sometimes with her own children. I remember being about maybe 19, maybe 21 years old, and be like, God, stop people please. You keep pleasing your kids. But guess what? Right away, it still became a part of me. No matter how much I recognized it, how much I didn't like it, it still became instilled in me because it was the environment that nurtured me. So how did I get to a place today where I have relationships that I'm not sure where they stand? How did it get that way? Because we can't point at anyone else. They're my relationships. So there's this teaching that I'm working my way to getting to that says we teach people how to treat us. Everything people have learned on how we treat each other has been learned from another person. And then when they get to you and I, that behavior is either enabled, it's allowed to continue, or it has to stop. And I guess in many places, again, speaking for myself, I must have allowed behaviors to go on because I love the people. And I found that out about me in doing my own personal development work right now, that when I love people, I love them to a fault. I love them to where I will make sacrifices of my health, my mental health, my spiritual, not my relationship with God, but my spiritual life. Um, I don't want to say that I'm a doormat. I would say years ago, when I first started doing the work to get out of people pleasing, that I was literally a doormat. And that is one of the most passive aggressive ways to live, because your authentic self on the inside knows that it's wrong, but the person of you that shows up continues it because you believe somewhere that this works. As much as you don't like it, it worked for my mom, it's working for me, but your authentic self hates it, is sick of it, has a distaste of it, but yet we do it anyhow. So again, when you want to figure out where to start your life work at, as far as your personal development, your spiritual development, write down the areas, make a list of where you're frustrated at. And that's a good place to start. And then for me, I landed on relationships. And I'm learning now that I don't like the way people treat me. Anybody with me? I don't, and I'm not looking for favoritism. I'm not looking to be spoiled, even though they're both wonderful things, but God does a great job of that. So I'm not too caught up in humans doing it for me. I'm just looking for a level of respect, which includes a level of trust, and definitely love. It would be great to have unconditional love. I have had it once in my life. Believe it or not, someone loved me unconditionally. And that was weird. I didn't know that I had unconditional love with this person until the person was no longer here. So, how did it get like this? Why did I do this? Why, as much work as I have done on people pleasing, is that thing still germinating more seeds in my life? So I'm just sharing that's some of the work that I'm doing on myself right now, and I want to share with you some things that I've learned about it, if you will. Let me see what y'all posting up here. You agree? Come on, Prophet Heather. She said, that's it. All right, Will, you still on with us? That makes me smile today. So let's talk about it for a second. Let's talk about it for a second. So we teach people how to treat us. I want you to type that in there. And if you can, share it with someone and just copy and paste. We teach people how to treat us. And yeah, Pastor D, that thinking, I know. Absolutely, Corindas. And that's where I am right now. That's where I could almost cry. Corinda's posted, when you don't let people treat you as they please, they label you as hard to deal with or mean. And that's when you're making your list of areas that you want to work on in your life, and you usually can start by the areas that you're frustrated in. Um, One of the reasons why I'm frustrated, and in psychology training from mental health life coaching, they teach us that when you're frustrated with relationships and you're frustrated with the people's response to you, you're not solving anything by being frustrated or mad with them or generally not happy. That's not going to solve it. What that means is you are not reinforcing the behaviors that you really want from the relationship. So here's a strategy. This is the third point that I want to make today. This is the third point. So I didn't go on StreamYard, so I'm only on this one Facebook page. This is not on any other Facebook page. It's not on YouTube. It's not on Instagram. This is just for 33 of y'all that are on here today. Here's your strategy. Okay, this is going to be the third thing that I've given you to do in this video. But here's your strategy to it. Rather than complain, learn to renegotiate your relationships to have what you want. If you find yourself frustrated in the area of relationships in your life, and you're frustrated unto complaining, you're going about it wrong, and it would be equal to being stuck in the mud, keeping the car in drive, and got your foot to the pedal. The gas is all the way to the floor. And all you're doing is burning up a lot of tread on those tires and mud in the air. You're not going forward. You're not going reverse. You might even going deeper down into it. So you have to develop a strategy. And rather than complaining about it, you're going to have to learn how to renegotiate your relationships to have what you want. Everybody want that, right? I want that. So as I mentioned earlier, in my intentional mentoring, we're dealing with some of the life strategies, some of the principles of having a life strategy. That's more than goals. It's more than having a destiny. We have a destiny just because we were granted access into this earth. We have a destiny. Whether we will ever pursue it is another story. Whether we will ever see it is another story. It's bigger than goals. It's having a strategy that completes goals, that connects you to a passion, that gets you to a destination. But it's also having a life strategy that keeps you going through pitfalls that come up in life. And most goals are not set up with pitfalls in mind. And that's usually why we stop working out. We stop eating healthy. We stop saving money. We were on our way to becoming a millionaire and we stopped it. We were going for promotion. We were going for education and we stopped it. Because when we only set goals, we forget about pitfalls that come up in life. So working with life strategies and teaching people how to treat you, the first life strategy I want you to put in place is stop complaining about them. That's where I'm at. I'm on stage 1. And I'm learning now to renegotiate my relationships so that I can have what I want. Say it. Say it selfishly. I can have what I want. Yeah, we have to stop complaining. Complaining again is like being stuck in the mud with the car in drive and your foot on the gas. It's a waste of gas, waste of life, waste of energy. So going through my mentoring group, I started helping them to learn and how to focus on how and why they got the results that they've gotten through life. And this life strategy is going to be no exception. This life strategy for teaching people how to treat you is just going to deal specifically with how you define your relationships. How do you define your relationships? Your relationships should be defined. Not everyone should get the same access. Not everyone should get the same level of trust. Not everyone should get the same level of access, trust that goes with respect. Not everyone should get the same level of, I like to do it like this when I teach my clients. I like to do it like this. Think of you, your life on stage. It's at a movie theater or it's a Broadway play and it's your life. You've got those people that sit in the orchestra seats. You got those that sit in the pit area, right? And then you have those that sit in the middle orchestra area. And then you've got your balcony people. When you go through your list of relationships, I want you to sit people who are attending your life play, your life movie, and put them where they are. First, do an honest placement. Place the pit people, mother, father, sister, brother, if that's where they are. Where they are. Those are the people that are so up close in front, they can see under your nose, but they still love you. And then you got the front row seat people. That's the orchestra area. The front row seat people. Who's sitting there? That's another level of vulnerability that they get in your life. They've earned those VIP seats. They've earned those front row seats in the orchestra section. They've earned them. Make sure that they have earned them. And you didn't put them there, 1, because of their relationship to you and family, or 2, because of their connection with another friend. Some people get by like that. They haven't earned your relationship. They haven't earned your love, your trust, respect, and we automatically give them a front row seat because of who they're affiliated with. Do not do it. You are valuable. You are the most important asset in this world, aside from the Holy Spirit, in this world, aside from the Holy Spirit. And you have a right to designate who gets to sit in the theater of the play of your life. So who's sitting in the pit section? Who has the front row seats? Who's there kind of in the orchestra section? And who's those balcony folks? Because in teaching people how to treat us, you have to first know the access that you are giving them to your life. Yeah. So we're going to deal specifically with relationships and how to get results. The only thing I would probably add to this, that in addition to getting results, I need you to understand that you yourself are a result. Catch that on the replay. Not only am I going to teach you how to get results, I want you to understand that you yourself are a result. You got to join my mentoring group. It's for men and women. Every quarter I offer it. And we're doing 4 sessions, and we're going to do an intensive at the next quarter. And they're going to do a life plan for me so they can know who they are, where their foundation came from, so we can begin to put a life strategy together to avoid the pitfalls that comes in and knocks us off of our goals, makes destiny take longer to get to. You are also a result, and therefore, because I want you to get better results, and because you are a factor in it, you are a result, you shape the behavior of those whom you interact. Come on, Ebony. You are a factor with those whom you interact. I said I was being a little transparent. I'm not going real deep. It's going to take probably 3 more of these before I go there, because I'm really digging deep. This is the area of my life that I'm working in. And I as a senior pastor slash apostle slash minister, and then in my personal, fun, family relationships, that's another area. And then even I only have one son, but even with being a mother, there's some areas in my relationships that they got to be retrained, but it's going to start with us. Because people learn by results. Whether or not you reward people, you accept people, or validate people, their behaviors impacts their conduct, and it will influence their subsequent choices. These are some notes, some points I wrote down before I got on here tonight. So what am I saying? First, you are also a result. And because you are a result, you shape the behavior of those whom you interact with. And because people learn by results, whether or not you reward them, you accept or validate their behavior, impacts the conduct and will influence all of the choices and how they treat you after that. So think about it right there. What is the reward that you give someone when they have mistreated you? Come on, I hope everyone on here puts something up. What is the reward? Because I want to make sure you get what I'm coaching you on tonight. Your reward may be that I still show up without having a discussion about how they treated me last time. You're rewarding bad behavior. Giving them further access to you is rewarding bad behavior. No, I work with them. I'm in a relationship with them. I'm in covenant with them. But every time you show up without a discussion on how they treated you last time, that you did not like it, you are rewarding bad behavior. And you are therefore teaching people by allowing them to treat you the way you are being treated. Do y'all get me? Come on. I'm reading your comments. Hello, Beverly Ann. Yeah, overlooking, Brittany is saying. When you overlook someone's behavior, you are rewarding them. You have put a reward system in place. You validate their behavior even deeper. Oh, man. And this is kind of triggering of a passive aggressive personality. I'm not going to say personality type, but a passive aggressive personality behavior in you, because now you have to show up to them being passively sweet and passively nice and cordial and loving, having fun, taking it for the team. But inside, your authentic self is saying, I don't like the way they treated us. I don't like how you allow them to talk to us. I don't like how you allow them to make fun of us when we get together as a group. I don't like how you let them cuss at you, tell you to shut up, make fun of your clothing, whatever it may be. I hear a lot in meetings. There's a reward system in place that has allowed that behavior That's why it's continued on, and this is why you are frustrated. Let me continue. So, how you interpret and react to their behavior determines whether or not they are likely to repeat it. Come on, I'm teaching already in here. Yep, and you may have to be okay with them pulling back on you because a lot of people like to do a lot of things, but a lot of people do not like being confronted about the things that they do. So, going in, you may have to be okay with they may act funny to you. They may start calling someone else to go to the mall with them or go shopping with them or go to the beach with them, playing pool with them. You may not be that one anymore. You're going to have to be okay with that because people are unstable. So if you're not okay with that yet, stay with your therapist, stay with your mental health life coach. Let me strengthen you a little bit more so that you can be ready for some people's passive aggressive response, manipulative response, dissension, gossiping, defaming you, all because you spoke up. Now, let me give you this. Let me give you this side effect. The longer you have allowed their behavior before addressing it, the worse the response is going to be. If you have allowed them to mishandle you and mistreat you, and you have still rewarded them with the same level of access to you, the harder it is going to either reinforce it or the harsher their response is going to be to you. So you be ready for that. Don't go in blind because people like to say, I like the truth. I'd rather have the truth. Mm-mm. Before the truth sets free, the truth offends. The truth hurts. The truth will break down and break through before the truth sets free. It's a whole lot that goes on before truth sets free. So get it. How you interpret and react to their behavior determines whether or not they are likely to repeat it. Some things you got to handle. You got to handle right away. And for me, one of my excuses, because that's what I'm labeling it, I'm only talking about me, is I don't have the energy. I'm too tired. I got a church of a couple hundred people. I got a husband. I got a son. I got a granddaughter. I got a counseling ministry. I have preaching engagements. I'm tired. I don't have the time for it. So it's easier to let things go and let them roll until you get to a level of such offense that you're not taking their calls. And they want to know why you won't answer them no more, and you won't even give them the honest answer of why they're not taking your call because you're so frustrated because you let it go so long. Sylvia, I didn't name it, but I'll go ahead and upload this on YouTube when we hang up, and I'll name it Let's Talk About Teaching People How to Treat Us. It will be something like that. It is draining, Beverly. Yep, it is draining, 100%. So remember, how you interpret and react to their behavior will also determine whether or not they're likely to repeat it. So, you need to actively participate in defining your relationships because making excuses about you don't have the energy, they should know better, um, whatever. The longer you let it go, the harder it's going to be. So, stop being an active participant in how people treat you. Boom. Hashtag that one. Stop being an active participant in how people treat you. Let's start defining some of our relationships. So I'm going to give you a nugget tonight, a straight nugget tonight. If you have ever wondered why people treat you the way they do, here is the answer. Here is the answer. Y'all got to act like you want it, though. If you ever wondered why people treat you the way they do, I'm going to give you the answer in this video tonight. Tell me when you're ready. And you know what, Sylvia? Maybe that's what I'll name this one tonight. Have you ever wondered why people treated you the way they do? And then I'll do a subline of teaching people how to treat you. All right, Beverly Ann put her ears up. All right. If you ever wonder why people treat you the way they do, here's the answer. Because people do what works. People do what works. And you can do a dot, dot, dot for them on it if you want to. People do what works. And if treating you the way they have treated you has worked for them, people are going to continue to treat you the way they do. People only do what works. Why do people smoke cigarettes in 2023 when there are so many aggressive campaigns out teaching us about the dangers of cigarette smoke? I posted one tonight on what lungs from hookah and hookah lounges have done to lungs. If we know with great aggressive campaigns, I mean, nothing can be more aggressive than seeing a trach in someone's throat, right? And they're trying to talk through it. And they're sharing how water gets in it when they get into a shower. I mean, you can't have anything more aggressive in your face regarding smoke than that. And people still smoke. The reason why they still smoke, knowing there's a very, very high chance they're going to end up with some form of cancer. It doesn't have to be lung cancer from smoking. You can get cancer in your toe from smoking, because the smoke gets in the oxygen of your blood and it travels where it travels until it develops as a cancer. So if you ever wonder why people treat you the way they do, because people do what works. People smoke knowing how poisonous smoking is right now because it's doing something for them that they believe works. It's a defense mechanism. It's calming them down. It's giving them peace. It's making them feel mature. It makes them feel rich. That was something that they did in the 60s. People do what works, no matter how bad it may seem, no matter how awful it may be to them. People only do what they believe works. Psychology 101. Mm-hmm. You're like, why do you smoke? Mind your business. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Because they have bought into something that this cigarette is giving them, or that gambling, or that drinking, or that sex, or that overspending is doing for them. They've bought into a belief that is giving them something. So these people have bought in somehow that how they treat us works well for them. And that's why it becomes a problem when you want to change things. People do what they do because you have taught them based on results. People will watch. Listen now. People will watch. And they will notice which behavior gets a payoff with you and which ones don't. Let me get my fork out because we eating some good stuff right now. Let me get my fork out. We eating some good stuff on this Memorial Day. Believe it or not, consciously or subconsciously, people pay attention to what behavior gets a payoff with you and which ones don't. Ask the little children. Ask my dog. My dog knows which behavior gets her a payoff and which ones don't. Little children know which behavior gets them a payoff and which ones don't. And adults are no exemption to the rule. They know which behavior gets them a payoff and which ones don't. If they get what they want, they keep that behavior in their repertoire. If they do not get the desired result, they drop that behavior and acquire a new behavior. So if they have manipulated you for 10 years and now you're tired of it and they can no longer manipulate you, let's just say they manipulate you with guilt. Let's just use that for an example. Maybe now they're going to manipulate you with guilt of them being a victim. And let's say for 10 years they've manipulated you with the guilt that they are a victim and now it's no longer working. Now they're going to manipulate you with the fact that they've changed. And now they need more energy and more time from you because now you're going to give up on them when they manipulated you and they feel so bad about manipulating you, but now they're a better person and now you're going to drop them and get rid of them. Now you're in another 10 or 20 years. Are y'all getting me tonight? If they get what they want, they keep the behavior. If they don't get the desired result, they drop the behavior and they pick up another one. Understand that here, as in all areas of life, results, not intentions, influence people with who we interact. What did I just say? In all areas of our lives, results, not intentions, influence people and how we interact. They are results driven. I mean, look at our children. That's like the easiest place right now for me to see where it's results. You can complain, you can cry, you can threaten, you can tell them that this result isn't going to happen again. This is the last time. But if the bottom line is that you reward the behavior one more time by even providing a response that the other person sees value to, then that person will decide automatically, hey, this works. I now know how to get what I want. Let me back up. If the bottom line is that you are rewarding the behavior by providing a response, if you told someone once, if you told someone twice, the third time you don't get a response, there's a consequence. But if they see that you're responding 3 times, women, we have such a weakness with this. You've responded 3 times. You've responded 4 times. You responded 5 times. You're still, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to pop you. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to pop you. I'm going to tell your father. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to pop you. I'm going to tell your father. And what do the kids do? You're still giving them a response. And it's a response they value because you haven't given them any consequence to it. They decide, this still works. I know how to get what I want. If the people in your life treat you in any undesirable way, it doesn't have to be a sin, it doesn't have to be offensive to 99 other people. If you are treated in an undesirable way, your own personal choice, you need to figure out what you are going to do to reinforce, elicit, and not allow this treatment anymore. I get it, Will, because we all do it. And it's learned. And let's just say we didn't have the best childhood, right? None of us have. Let's be honest about it. It's impossible. But we have had to learn some behaviors in our childhood to survive, to get love, to get food. I know someone who's had to do some undesirable things to get food, like stealing and lying, just to get food, as a child in their own household. So as an adult, they've learned to lie and to steal, but it's just not for food anymore. It's for anything they want because they learned a behavior that got them what they needed, food. As an adult, they keep the same behavior up no matter what the item or the object has changed to, whether it's love or whatever. So this isn't to put anyone down. This is for us to get out of life and out of our relationships what we want, what's desirable to us. And first take the accountability that we are getting what we are getting out of our relationships because we allowed it. And then maybe someone will want to figure out why you allowed that in your life. Others will just want to say, I don't care why. I want to stop it immediately. I want to start using tools and resources, and I want to start showing up in a different way in my relationships so that I can get a different response. That's the difference right there, as a matter of fact, between therapy and mental health life coaching. Therapy will take you to the why. Why do you do this? Why did you do that? Why do you allow this to happen? Mental health life coaching will say, I'm not looking for the whys. The whys is usually some kind of illness, right? Could be an issue. But in mental health life coaching, it's like, I don't care why. I've recognized it. I have the mental capacity to know that I need to change this, to get some help in my life, get some support in my life, and I am mentally able, through help, accountability, and support, to make these changes in my life. I don't want prescriptions. I don't want a diagnosis. I want help recognizing, giving me tools and resources, and move me forward, because it is time for me to start getting out of my relationships what I want. Most people are frustrated because they think it's automatic. They think that because of the way they treat people, they think the way they give and love other people in relationship to them, they should automatically get that in return. Huh? I mean, you're not dealing with God here. Reaping and sowing, right? It doesn't happen with humans. Just because you're good and you're honest and you're loyal and you're thoughtful and you share everything, it does not give you an automatic entitlement to get it from someone else. So if you are that type of person, how do you then learn how to get that from the people in your relationship, if at all possible? That's when you need a life strategy. You need a life strategy because you need to learn how to get out of my relationships what I believe I'm worth. Professional, spiritual, domestic, and that includes friendships, associates. What do you want to get out of your relationships? What are you not getting out of your relationships? Teaching yourself first how to get out of the way. 2, being confident of this very thing, that this work that I'm beginning in myself, it's going to be completed into the end. I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to repeat. I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to be willing to lose people. Hopefully not, but I'm going to be willing to lose people, and maybe they'll come back when they can know how to treat me, and maybe they'll come back when I'm healthier and I'm able to teach people how to treat me. Yo, we eating good tonight. Anybody else eating good on Memorial Day? We're almost done. If the people in your life treat you in any way that is undesirable to you, you're going to want to figure out what you are doing to reinforce, to elicit, and allow that treatment. That's going to be your soul work until we get on here again. That's going to be your soul work. Find out what it is that you're doing to reinforce, elicit, and allow that treatment from these people in your life. That's where I'm at. It's me, Lord. I'm standing in the need of understanding of how I allowed my relationships to become so frustrating because I allowed people to treat me the way they've treated me, and I haven't taught them to treat me better. Oh, gotta eat some more. Woo! I'm preaching good to myself. If you are involved in any relationships in which someone is consistently abusive, exploitive, or insensitive towards you, find out what you are doing to encourage that behavior so that you can realign the relationship in a more healthy direction. Personal, professional, spiritual, all ships. I don't care what ship you got. A complicated ship, a relationship, an understanding ship, a girlfriend ship, a guy ship. I don't care what kind of ship you are in. If you are in a relationship that has rewarded somebody's poor, unacceptable behavior towards you, you need to find out what you have done to encourage that behavior. I challenge some of the couples, those who are in relationships, like, partner, husband, wife type marriage stuff. I will encourage you, ask them. Ask them. If you're in a physically abusive relationship, don't do it. But if you know that you can have this conversation with this person and be safe, the next time they treat you some kind of way that you've already told them not to, or in a way that they know isn't right, and they know it's not right because they got to raise their tone, they got to attack you verbally, they got to defame your character, they got to do something that's out of order. I want you to ask them, what have I done to encourage you to treat me like this? Eating again. I'm eating again, y'all. What have I done that has encouraged you to treat me like this? Ask them. And some might just tell you, you just never told me you didn't like it. You never told me you had a problem with it. Some, if it's girlfriends, or just your friendships, they may be like, I didn't know it was a big deal, but I've told you. You see my attitude. You see I get up and leave. You see I go home. You see I haven't been around lately. But you have never specifically pinpointed that you don't like the way I talk to you or treat you. Or, I have friends who are Christians and they have non-Christian friends, and sometimes they make fun of them as a Christian, to make them kind of like fit into their mold. And I told them, I said, do you ever attack the fact that they're not a believer? Then why are you letting them be rewarded with your presence by continually attacking your faith? Your presence is a reward to people. Having access to you is a reward to people. But if you first don't think much of yourself, you're not going to see yourself as a reward to anyone. Having access to me. There's some people in my life that reach out to me on Facebook. Okay? Those are really like associates. And then there's people who can reach out to me from my website. Those are closer. Those are business associates, right? Whether they're pastor or we have some business connection, or there's some alignment like Christ or church or preaching engagements, something that we all share together. So that's another level of access, right? That's the coming from the balcony to the orchestra. Rewind the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then you have those that have my business phone number, right? Another level of access to me. And then you have those that have my private phone number. Another level of access to me. If I have given you access to my personal private home address, personal private visit to my home, personal private access to my cell phone number, there is a level of respect or accountability that I believe we have, that I've given you this level of access to me, because you could be on Facebook Messenger or you could be on the website. Do y'all get where I'm at with this? So when people have been given granted that kind of access or that kind of reward for their friendship and their loyalty to you, there should be a level of understanding and respect. There should also be a level of um, what do I want to call it? A level of conversation that we are able to have with each other to correct some behaviors that we no longer like without ruining the relationship. You have my cell phone number. You know where I live. There should be conversations that we can share with one another that should not destroy the relationship, because that level of access has been granted or rewarded to one another. Yeah, its boundaries is included in this. Absolutely. What is it that I have done? I'm going to practice it on y'all, okay? And I want y'all to practice it at home. What is it that I have done to encourage you to treat me like this? What is it that I have done that has allowed you to talk to me like this? What is it that I have done that has allowed you to disregard me like this? Come on, practice it. How does it feel? Practice it. Where you at? What is it that I have done that makes you think you can ignore me when I called you? What is it that I have done to make you think that it's okay to not show up to an event that I expected you at? Are y'all getting it? Come on, 31 is still hanging. That's pretty good. So I'll end it like this for today. Relationships need to be mutually defined. And this is usually things we don't do because have some relationships since kindergarten. We'll have some relationships since birth. We were born into them. It's called family. We'll have some relationships that we married into. Some relationships that evolve from a church relationship or a job relationship, or they evolve from meeting through other people. So we never took the time to really define the relationship. And that may never happen as a group or as a one-on-one friend, but get me on this. You need to be clear on defining the relationships in your life. That is your responsibility. Being clear and defining the relationships in your life. Because your access and you being in people's lives is a reward. And start thinking of it that way. We all should realize that we are a blessing to one another, and it should never be taken for granted. Bad behavior does not get rewarded with you showing up for them without a conversation. Relationships are mutually defined when each person in the relationship contributes importantly to its definition, to the purpose of the relationship. Relationships are mutually defined when each person in the relationship contributes importantly to its definition. What do we have here? That's why we have it's complicated. I forget the other ship that y'all use now on social media. It's complicated, and there's another one because the relationship isn't clearly defined. And one of the parties may have clearly defined it, but the other party hasn't accepted the clearly defined relationship. So there's going to be a lot of boundaries that are going to be broken. There's going to be a lot of confusion in the relationship. There's going to be a lot of ill treatment in the relationship because entanglement, that's a good one. Situationship, there we go. All of these, we done went from situationship to entanglement in the world now because we can't define the relationship because it isn't one. And it isn't one because one person is not respecting the other person's definition of the relationship. So they need to be mutually defined. And from the very outset, understand that it is a give and take negotiation between the parties involved. And I'm using it that way because it could be, a spiritual relationship, a professional relationship. So I'm just using the parties involved. From the very outset, it is a give and take negotiation, or has it not been? Because if not, that's a ill-defined relationship right there. But together, you and the people involved can talk about the terms. You can set up, next time and mind you, no one's going to go in and have a contract set up. This is how we're going to be as friends. You can sign it or not sign it. Of course, that ain't what happened, right? But what happens is when issues show up, by the way, I like to confront things when they show up like this. Are you comfortable with this? By the way, I want you to understand what I think of family. And I want you to know that going in, there's going to be some conflict between us or in this group. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. But can we agree that we won't badmouth each other, or we won't gossip about each other, or if one is frustrated with the other one and they vent to another one in the group, that they will be redirected back to keep the group in harmony with one another? Like, when issues show up, they have to be confronted. When they're not confronted, there's no definition to the relationship. And then when you continually show up, you reward poor behavior. Together, we can have healthy relationships. But by yourself, you have to understand that you have treated people, you have taught people how to treat you. And that, my dear, has to be a problem for you. So if you don't like it, don't blame the other person. It's time for you to take ownership of the relationship that you are in, that you have allowed to exist, that you have allowed to show up and to treat you the way they treat you, and you have rewarded with some sort of reward system, no matter how they treat you, you have given a reward to it. And sometimes the reward is just having access to you. Have ownership of your relationships. Put that up on the screen. Have ownership of your relationships. I want y'all to have a good night tonight. I want you to think on this. You got to go back and play it from the beginning because I've given you some instructions when you want to start doing some personal development on your life. How to know where to start. Like this, my life's a mess. Have people come to me say, my life's a mess. Okay, well, let's start with the areas of frustration. And then they'll go down the list and then we'll kind of like pick what's most important to them. And some are so connected together, we work on one thing and handle 3 different places in their life. Don't get overwhelmed. Your life is not as bad as you think it is. Remember to think of your life as a Broadway play. Where have you allowed the people to sit in your life? And are they acting like balcony people, even though you've given them front row seats? You may need to renegotiate the access that they have to your life. But whatever you do, can't blame them because they have been allowed to do it. They probably were allowed to do it before they even developed this relationship with you. And then the behavior carried on with you. So take some responsibility for your relationships. Write down the areas in your life that you're frustrated in. Start determining how you want things to turn around. And then when I get back on here again, we'll talk about people and how they treat you again. And we'll take it another level higher. Is that all right with y'all? Again, if you haven't joined my mentoring group, it's once a quarter. I encourage you to join it. We're working out life strategies. We're going to be doing this for a year. We're going to be building life strategies. Life strategies are more than goals. It's more than having a destiny or a destination. It prepares you for the pitfalls that will cause you to miss your goals, that will cause you to give up on destiny. All righty, I'm done. I think I'm going to start the little fire pit out, and I'm just going to sit out here and meditate some more with the Lord. I had a good day with him, and I started thinking of y'all, and I wanted to get on. And I didn't do the full stream because I wanted to see what would show up tonight with just Facebook, just one page of Facebook. So I'm going to get on again. Put your alerts on. Tell your friends. Come on, we got to learn how to have a better relationship. Send it to your mama. Send it to your grandmama. Send it to your friends. Girl, she going to teach us how to have a better relationship. Send it. Tell them to go to YouTube and subscribe. I will upload this on YouTube tonight. And I'll set it out as a premiere, like it's the first time playing, so that y'all all will get a link to it as well. Will, I love you. Be encouraged. There is therefore now no condemnation. Be encouraged. Take it as a tool to be sharpened, not as a tool to injure ourselves in. God loves us. I love you. And I pray that I see y'all back on again this week. Okay? Subscribe to my YouTube page. I'm going to go ahead and set it up as a new video tonight. Good food for thought. Thank you so much. Hey, Elsie. That's Will's mom. God bless you. Let's go. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you and good night.